You know, Apple spends a lot of money advertising and has an app for anything you want to accomplish with an iPhone, iPad, iPod, but the giant computer company has recently thrown out a couple of apps by Christian groups. It also declared them offensive to large groups of people. This is the CitizenLink Report. I'm Stuart Shepard, and we're joined today by webcam by Alan Chambers, who's president of Exodus International. Hi, Alan.
Hi, Stuart. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. You get to join the folks over at the Manhattan Declaration with the unfortunate honor of having had an app yanked from the App Store. First, tell us what the app did. If people loaded this onto their iPhone, what would be shared with them through that software?
Just quite simply what they can already get through our website, but we developed this app as a link for people with Apple products to go directly from their iPad or iPhone to our website, to our calendar, a place where they could donate, you name it. The things that most people create apps for is all that we were offering as well.
And Apple accepted it no problem at first.
Apple did accept it no problem at first. You know, it wasn't probably a live person who was okaying it, but it was the same process that everyone has to go.
Yeah, and then perhaps encouraged by Apple rejecting the Manhattan Declaration app, a group that takes the other point of view from what we think about this issue and the idea of biblical relationships, they put together a petition to get it yanked, and Apple followed through.
They did. Change.org, along with an organization, promoted a form for people to sign to ask Apple, petition Apple to take down our app. And after about 150,000 signatures opposed to what we were doing, they actually reject our application.
Yeah. Now, as far as offensive, is there anything in there that was offensive?
Well, there are all sorts of things that are offensive to different groups of people, no matter what side of the debate you're coming from. But from our point of view, for the people who are interested in the work that we do, the 16,000 people that downloaded the app from the iTunes store, you know, over 15,500 of them were positive about the app. And so it was something that they appreciated, something that they wanted to take part in, something that they should have the right to download on their iPhones or their iPads.
And for people who aren't familiar with Exodus International, summarize for us what your message is for people.
We're an organization that helps people who are in conflict with their sexuality and with their faith, predominantly the men and women who contact us for help, and there are about 500,000 of them each year, are men and women who are affected in some way by same-sex attractions, and they are trying to steward their sexuality through the filter of their faith, trying to place their faith first before anything else.
Now, we've had some folks on our Facebook page make this simple comment. They said, you know, Apple is a private company. The App Store is a walled garden, to use the tech jargon. In other words, Apple gets to decide who's in and who's out. And if you're out, tough luck. How do you respond to that argument?
Well, we certainly respect private enterprise, and we respect Apple's decision to decide for themselves what does make it through and what doesn't. But the fact of the matter is, the thing that's most troubling is there are virtually thousands, if not more applications that are on the iPad or iPhone platform that are offensive to a number of groups. There are our equivalents on the gay side, the Metropolitan Community Church, the Gay Christian Network, that I think would be offensive to millions of Christians and people around the world. What if we petitioned Apple to remove those applications, something we would never even consider doing because of free speech? But what if we did, and we got as much of an outrage as the groups on the gay side did? Would they remove those applications? I don't think so. I think it is not necessarily the application itself, but the groups that were offended by our application.
And it's my understanding, I've seen a couple of articles by folks who are on the other side of this issue, but who think you're right, that you should have a place in the App Store for the Exodus app, even though they disagree with you.
Right, and we really appreciate that kind of support. It really boils down to freedom of speech and freedom of expression, and whether we agree or not on messaging or mission isn't the point. The point is, we all in a free and tolerant society should have the right to express our views and our opinions in a public marketplace.
So now what? What happens next?
What happens next is we accept what Apple has thrown at us, and we pursue other options. I don't know what those options are at this point, but there are some out there. And we're not going away. We're not going to be quiet. We're not going to be silenced. And we're going to go forward with our mission because we help people who are conflicted, who need help, who need the support that we offer. And so because there's a need, because it's important, because it helped people like me, we're going to continue to do what we do, and we've done for 35 years.
I want to give you a chance to talk about the larger issue here, and you've touched on it a bit already, and it's simply this. There is no court case to be had here. I mean, Apple has opened up the App Store. It is theirs to do whatever they want with as far as how it works. But there is the larger issue here about a company deciding what is okay for people to think about, and I'm talking here about civil dialogue, not about things that are truly obscene or illegal or that sort of thing, but this is just civil dialogue, a debate, if you will, about different sides of an issue. Talk a bit about that larger issue. What does it say when a company has that kind of power over what people think?
Well, it shuts down the ability to have a dialogue, to have a discussion on important issues. You know, this is something that goes to the heart of this debate in general and to the larger issue that we're dealing with in our culture. Are we as a society going to limit someone's ability to think for themselves, to express their opinions for themselves, and to believe what they want to believe, no matter whether it's politically correct or not? And what we saw in this entire situation, mostly from people on the other side trying to limit what information gets out there, is people who are saying, you don't have a right to believe what you want to believe. You don't have a right to express the opinions that you want to express. We want to think for you. We want to make a decision for you. And that is a very scary thing when we are looking at this same group of people dealing with hate crimes issues and legislation that we're afraid would limit our ability and our religious freedoms. They're the ones pushing for these types of legislative efforts. Are we to believe that then they wouldn't try this in a legal sense to shut down opinions and dialogue in a marketplace of ideas in the public sector? I'm not so confident at this point.
Before I let you go, I want to give you a chance to share a little bit about the ministry of Exodus International and the kind of work you do. You've touched on it a bit, but I want to let you just take a minute to explain to people what it's about and how they may get in touch with you.
For 35 years, Exodus International's mission has been to mobilize the body of Christ to minister grace and truth to a world impacted by homosexuality, which is literally all of us. There are 155 million people estimated in the world dealing with this very issue today. And so we are to provide support, but most importantly, to provide support to the church to understand how they can compassionately reach out to people. And they can get in touch with us in a number of ways, but exodusinternational.org is the very best way that they can reach our ministry or the ministries that we have worldwide.
Well, thank you, Alan. We appreciate the work you do there, and we are praying for you.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thanks for sharing with us today. And thank you for watching. We always appreciate hearing from you. You may always write to us at mail@citizenlink.com. We also encourage you to pray for Exodus International and all the folks who work with that ministry. They're doing a good work, and they're worthy of our support both in prayer and otherwise. And remember, stand tall and be heard.